All right, well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Entrepreneurs Without Limits. I'm Dana Scranton, your founder and your head lifestyle enthusiast. And so here we are with episode 6 in the Code of Life and Living, your ultimate mindset, your mindset of life. Now, what we're doing over the next few episodes is we're talking about the category attitude. As I've said in the previous episodes, your mindset creates your life. Your code of life, your code of living, is a mindset that you have adopted such that you are operating in the state of unconscious competence. Basically meaning that you are operating in an autonomous mode of mastery, continuing to grow, continuing to change, but your life is by design with the code of living. So we're going through the individual elements of what comprises your code of living. And right now we're on the subject, the broad subject of attitude. And attitude consists of a number of elements: values, beliefs, feelings, thoughts, behaviors, and consequences. So I've grouped all of those into the thing that we call attitude. And in the last episode, episode 5, I talked about the general elements that I just mentioned, but also went into detail on beliefs. Well, today we're going to talk about values. And the reason for doing this is because as you move forward in life, as you pursue your desires, as you pursue your purpose and your vision, you're going to get pushback. You're going to get pushback from your subconscious mind, your heart, your soul. You're going to be getting messages that are ostensibly for your own good and welfare. But your subconscious mind is running on programs that were put in there completely against your knowledge. And it began many, many years ago, actually, before you were born. And so you were programmed with all sorts of experiences that created the beliefs that you have and reinforced and created values. And so what we want to do is be aware of where those come from and how to control them, how to reinforce them, how to overwrite them, how to remove them, how to be in a position where we are in control of our lives at every level. Okay, so we're going to talk about values today. So many years ago, when I was first introduced to the concept of values and beliefs, I was a little confused because to my simple mind, they sounded an awful lot alike. And maybe it was just the way that they were taught to me. But being the engineer and looking at the way that things work in the world, I, of course, had to simplify it down to some basic elements so that I could differentiate between the two. And so, as I said in the last episode, to me, beliefs are those things that operate in an if this, then that mode. If I do this, then that will happen. Or if I do this, then I will get that. And that may be positive. It may be something that I look forward to. It may be something negative. It may be something that I want to run from. And so being aware that these programs are running in your subconscious mind and tugging at your heart and your soul and processing information to the tune of 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day running in your subconscious computer bank, having a little bit of awareness as to what's going on really helps you to keep yourself on track. Well, so it is with values. Now, values are a little different. Here's my definition. As I said, beliefs to me were if this, then that. In other words, a logical sequence that the computer of your mind is running, and it's saying, if you do that, or if you do this, then you're going to get that. Cool, understand that. But what about values? Well, I have a different approach to values than some. To me, when it comes to your code of living, your code of life, the mindset that you want to adopt as that which will take you for the rest of your life to the point of your desires and beyond, to fulfill your purpose and to become the person of your vision, well, to me, values are a very important part of that. But what are values? Well, simply put, in my definition, values are those things that contribute to the fulfillment of either the 6 basic human needs or the 6 elements of human wellness. Now, what are the 6 basic human needs? Well, there's certainty, change, growth, contribution, connection, and significance. These are the things that we as humans seek. These are our needs, and they oftentimes are in different proportions. In fact, all the time, they're in different proportions for different people. Certainty means something different to one person than it does to another. Change, people relish and value change, and on the other hand, some don't. Change is not something they value. In fact, they value stability. There's people who value growth. They see growth as the only way forward to become more. But yet there's those who value being the same, status quo. Don't ruffle the feathers, don't rock the boat. And you have to respect people's values. There are those who value contribution, to go out of their way to contribute to the world, to contribute to others, to contribute to one person and one cause. But yet there's others who really don't want to contribute, and it's not because they can't, it's because they believe they will stay to their own. Okay, these are just diametrically opposed values. For example, connection. Connection is the human need to bond, to be with others. There are those who value connection, value being with other people, value the camaraderie and the relationships. But then there's those who would rather not. They'd rather be alone on a mountaintop and value the serenity and certainty of being alone. There's those who value being significant, knowing that they matter. And there's those who don't care. But these are all examples of human needs and where some people may place their values. Now, what about the 6 elements of human wellness? Well, the 6 elements of human wellness, these are things that you'll find different variations of these, as you will the basic human needs. But you've got physical, you've got psychological, spiritual, relationships, financial, and oh gosh, what is the other one? It is, I'm thinking about it, sorry. Oh, intellectual, of course. How could I forget that? Intellectual. Okay, so just to reiterate those, because I got off track a little bit there. You're going to have physical, you're going to have psychological, spiritual, relationships, financial, and intellectual. These are the 6 elements of human wellness that we're going to focus on in the Code of Life. But these are values. These are things that people value. For example, people will value their physical health, their physical conditioning. There are those who don't value that. That's not high on their value list. There are those who value their psychological health, their emotional health. And then there's others who stress themselves out on a continuous basis, and they may not value their psychological health. And there's those who value their spiritual health, their connection with their creator, to a greater presence, the intelligence of the universe. And then there's those who could care less. They don't value that. There are those who value the relationships in their life. And relationships are family and friends, social relationships in today's modern world. There are digital relationships that people value. And then there are those who could care less. They don't value those things at all. There are those who value their career, the financial elements of their life. They value money. They value growth in that area and the recognition it brings them. And the 6 basic human needs kind of overlay on some of these things. But then there's those who could care less about money, care less about career. They are free spirits, free souls. And then there's those who value intellectual health and wellness. They value learning, they value knowledge, they value wisdom. Then there's those, who could care less. But these are the examples of how values come into your life. So in the code of living, in your mindset, as you move forward in life, it's not unlike beliefs. The things that you value must align with the direction you are going to pursue your desires, to achieve and fulfill your purpose and become the person of your vision. If your values are out of sync with that journey, you will be fighting an uphill battle. Now, in most cases, you automatically align with your values. It's something that comes to you naturally and with awareness, because one of the prime indicators that we humans have when our values are being offended is just that. We become offended. We become uncomfortable with somebody whose behavior or their words or their ideologies are in conflict with that we value in one of those areas of human needs or human wellness. Now, this is simply my approach to explain and differentiate between beliefs and values. Now, values, like beliefs, you have control over those. You can formulate your values based on your experiences. You can formulate your values based on who it is you desire to become in your journey of life. You can formulate those. You can reinforce them through the words you use and the behaviors that you exhibit. And like beliefs, you can design the experiences of life to create and reinforce values. When you value something like honesty or hard work or integrity, or you value intellectual prowess, you value knowledge, you value spirituality, when these are things that you value and they're important to you, you can design the experiences in your life to create and fortify those values such that they align and are congruent with the journey in life that you have chosen, that purpose you're pursuing, those desires you seek to fulfill. By the same token, values, like beliefs, can be thrust upon you. You can be put in situations that are outside of your control and outside of your design, where the values that are presented to you are either in conflict with the values that you hold, or you have no values in that particular area, and now you are being presented with these values, and now you've got to adjust to and adapt to whether or not they are in alignment with who you are, where you're going, and your purpose. Sometimes this happens in the area of spirituality. For example, if you have people where spirituality has not been a value to them, and then one day they are confronted with an opportunity to learn about spirituality, but they didn't design the experience, it was just put on the table in front of them, so to speak. How you respond to those kind of situations is directly proportional to how you will adopt or accept or reject those values. So here's a bit of advice. When it comes to, as I said, decisions, a successful decision is one where you have peace of mind regardless of the outcome, and I've spoken on that. The same is true of values and beliefs, and in particular values, because sometimes values are in conflict, right? I mean, how many times have you sat across a table from somebody and they're talking about their values in the form of the human needs or the elements of wellness, and they're going off in a direction that's not aligned with your values, and you start to feel anxious, you start to kind of reject what they're saying, and you're almost wanting to interrupt them and shut them up. It's better to treat that like a decision. You want to listen, be courteous, be professional, be human, value the other person's values, or let me put it this way, value that person as somebody who has values. You don't necessarily have to agree with them or adopt them, but value the person, question the values. Question the values as to how you will respond to them. And sometimes it's better not to respond at all. It's better just to ask questions and have them explain their values. But I say this simply for this reason. You want to control the experiences that you put yourself in contact with. You can design your experiences, or if you're put in a situation where the experience is designed by somebody else, know going in that you will be objective, but intelligently objective. You are open to modifying your values if you see something that is in alignment with what you already believe, or if you have no values in a certain area, that it's in alignment with your vision, your purpose, and where you're going in life. We're oftentimes exposed to values more than we are beliefs. People's opinions can be beliefs, but very oftentimes they fall into that category of values. So values are the same thing. We can reinforce them with affirmations. We can tell ourselves, I value integrity. I value honesty. Why do I act with such honesty? Why do I act with such integrity? We can put the visualization tool to work for us. We can visualize ourselves standing on a stage, standing in front of people, telling them about our values and feeling good about those values and why we believe those values make us who we are and enable us to deliver value to the world. We can use those mental images and mental movies. We can structure our thoughts and structure our behavior and seek those consequences in life that reinforce the values that lead us where we want to go. So we can take control of fortifying our values and validating them. Oftentimes, validating values is what we need the most. When we're placed in situations that are not of our design, we feel compelled to validate our values. So we do that through those mechanisms, very much like belief. So that's the values and beliefs discussion. And I think you'll find that of all the elements of attitude, values and beliefs are the ones that you want to learn and focus on to the greatest extent, because they are the bedrock. You are more cognizant of your values. They're easier to spot. You're less cognizant of your beliefs. But once you've trained yourself, as I said in the last episode on attitude, you are better equipped to take the time to pause so you don't get trapped in that 1/4 second window of reaction. Give yourself time to think. Give yourself time to respond instead of react. And this leads you to a far more objective path forward. So that's values. Now, in the next episode, episode 7, what we're going to be talking about is what we've already talked about, okay? You'll notice that in this discussion of values and beliefs, I have referred to feelings, thoughts, behaviors, and consequences. These are the last 4 elements of attitude. And so as we're moving into those, you're already getting a picture of where we're going in those last 4 elements. So those episodes may be a little quicker. They may be shorter, because by the time we get through consequences, you're going to be pretty well versed in the whole idea of feelings, thoughts, behaviors, and consequences. Well, once again, this is Dana Scranton, and you've been watching Entrepreneurs Without Limits, and the 6th episode in the Code of Life and Living. Your mindset of life. All right, well, thank you once again for watching, and thank you for those who watch the replay. This will be posted in the units over in the Entrepreneurs Without Limits group. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can go to Facebook, type in Entrepreneurs Without Limits. You'll probably land on a page that will give you direction to go to the group. You can go to the group and join the group, and you're going to find a lot of these videos in there in the units under the Code of Living, and you'll find a lot of other resources in there as well. All right, well, thank you once again. I do appreciate you. So get out there and live without limits. Make a difference, make an impact, and live your code of life. Take care.